Hey guys, welcome back to episode 23 of the Scrubbedin Weekly Podcast. So just coming off a set of nights, we thought it'd be a good idea to kind of tell all of you newly doctors or final year medics how to prepare for a night shift, and for the people that aren't medics, what it means to work as a junior doctor come 3-4 o'clock in the morning all by yourself in a really big hospital. So we'll get straight into it. Night shifts as a junior doctor, how is it?
It's tough, man. It is tough. So for me, right, because I trained in London for foundation years, I didn't do night shifts in F1. So it hit me doing it as an SHO. But what I found was, you know what? The first block of nights I got through because of the adrenaline rush. First time on the night. It's a little bit exciting in the sense that what are you going to be like on the nights, and adrenaline gets you through, but eventually that adrenaline completely is wiped out. So night shifts in a nutshell, that in A&E it was busy. I think A&E is a different environment though altogether.
Yeah, I think so,
right?
yeah.
You're seeing a patient from start to finish, making a decision and then sending them either into a specialty or home. And I think that adrenaline of the patient is coming into you in an acute situation keeps you going. It keeps you going. I can see, so for example, on nights that are less intense, where the cases are very bog standard, not acute, people coming in with like weird presentations of nothing essentially, I can see myself completely drop off because I'm no longer being stimulated. My mind's not stimulated. For example, if it's just MSK or something like that, those sort of things, which becomes tough. But no, overall, it's enjoyable partly in A&E particularly. I haven't done it yet in my medical block, but it is difficult. It's challenging, and the most challenging thing I find is it's not. No, it is. It's basically fatigue that then affects your clinical ability.
Yeah, I agree.
That's what it is. What about you? You've done it on medicine, where you're covering wards. What's it like?
I think the important thing you mentioned is initially there's this novelty about it. It's like, yo, I'm going to be doing nights, this like night shifts, I'm going to be up at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning and I'm going to be on myself. Do you know what I mean? It's this novelty which very quickly wears off. Even when people reach out to us, they're like, yo, I can't wait to do night shifts. I'm going to be really good at it. It's the first few times it's really good. It's the adrenaline that keeps you going. But then once you realize at nights, it's towards the later on of the night, so early on, that's when people start to become really bad, deteriorate, and you're running around and there's not much support. You got literally half the number of people, half the number of staff, and everyone's busy. Then you start realizing, do you know what? Nights aren't as cool as they seem to be. This novelty does wear off, and they are tough. And like you said, adrenaline kind of keeps you going and you just kind of get on with it because you have to go somewhere, but it does take a toll on you. And the difficulty for me is just adjusting from the nights to the days, from the days to the weekends.
They're so hard, isn't it? The transition points are probably the most difficult things.
And it takes a bit of time to recover. But night shifts, I would say, I have experienced because I've done on both ITU and medicine. It's one of the times when patients become really unwell really quickly and you don't have enough pair of hands to help you. So nights as a whole, I would say are tricky, are difficult, and you do really need a good solid team and really good senior support to get through it. Because it is no joke, and this novelty of wow, I'm working at night, and you feel really cool, and like not everyone works nights. It goes out the window really, and it's all about being safe. And the whole concept of as the night progresses, and there's this thing I read. So I just came off ITU nights. There's a massive poster on the wall, and it kind of tells you all the things you should do, and in bold it goes, be aware of the 4 a.m. dip. So the 4 o'clock is infamous. It's after that, around that time, this when you are at your lowest point, you are fatigued, you are drained, your patients are starting to fall unwell, really take a hit. You can't think properly, you slow down. Once you slow down, once you're fatigued, your clinical judgment becomes slow. You're making riskier decisions. You're making really awful management plans. That 4 a.m. is mad. We need to talk about, what to do before, during, and after night shift and how you go about it. But I find night shifts quite tough, to be fair. And my problem is, those nights become a blur, man. So you do your nights, you go home, you sleep, and then you're back on nights. So you're missing out a good 3-4 days of life.
Of life,
do you know what I mean?
So true. Yeah. No, totally. So wait, so how do you actually prepare for? Say you got a night shift tomorrow. No, you do have a night shift tomorrow. What are you gonna do to prepare
for night shift? The thing in terms of preparing, the first day is the most difficult because you'll more or less be awake for 24 hours.
Yeah.
Because
that's what I did. So you don't sleep either.
So I don't sleep.
Before.
What I try to do is I try to sleep as late as possible the night before, wake up late as possible on my night shift, do my night and go back to sleep. But it never really works. Adjusting sleeping is very difficult. It takes a few nights to normalize to whatever sleeping pattern you are. So what I usually do, or what you should do, is basically try sleep or nap before your shift. So that's what I try to do.
Yeah.
So even if I'm lying down for half an hour, an hour.
The first night? You do it on the first night as well?
Yeah, the first night.
Cool.
Because I know that most of the day I would have been waking up and working and doing whatever I need to do. So I'll try and rest for half an hour at least, just so I got a bit of downtime. And then I firm it. I'll be honest. I just firm the night. And then that next morning, obviously you're tired, you go to sleep and you just firm the 3 or 4 nights you need to do. What about you?
Do you sleep on the nights?
It depends. So in medicine, I very rarely had the chance. Very, very rarely had the chance because it was really busy. We didn't have really that many staff members. Everyone was really caught up, so I couldn't sleep. And obviously, I haven't done ITU long enough to kind of tell you. But there are days where you do get sleep for like an hour or two. But that sleep is a bit of a funny sleep because at the back of your head, you know you're on call and that bleep might go off any moment.
Yeah,
so it's not true really genuine sleep. It's rest, not doing anything, but at the back of your hand, you're still thinking about a patient. You're thinking about what needs to be done. So I don't know. Like you can never say this is 1 hour of rest and you're not going to get bothered. That doesn't exist.
Yeah. So for myself, for the night shift, what I do is on my first day, I actually treat it like it's a day off. So for example, if I get Saturday, Sunday off and I'm on Monday nights, I treat it as if I've got Saturday, Sunday, Monday off.
Okay.
Right, so I will do whatever I want. I will do all the activities I want, meet the friends I want to meet or go out or what have you. I'll do it all, gym, everything, right? I tried initially to try and get a nap in before the shift, but it just didn't work. I just couldn't knock out. So I just literally, so in that week, technically, I would have 24 hours less sleep because that day I've just sacrificed as a whole. So yeah, so that's... I don't bother trying to attempt to sleep. And throughout the night, so this is a funny story. I told my Regis and my colleagues, the other SHOs and everything, as a joke, I would say, if I go to sleep, I most probably won't return because I can't sleep.
Yeah.
So I think most of the 4 months of rotation, I didn't sleep on the nights. I just stayed awake.
Can you sleep in A&E? And there's constantly loads of patients to see what
when you're on break. When you're on break,
how long are the breaks? How does the breaks work?
You can get up to an hour.
You get an hour break in A&E?
Up to an hour.
How long are the shifts? Like
you can do 12-hour shifts, man. Some people are on 15-hour shifts sometimes.
And you get an hour break, and no one disturbs you.
You usually you're supposed to take it in half-an-hour blocks.
Yeah.
But you can take it in an hour sometimes.
Okay, that's good. So you have proper breaks, and
depends on who it is, isn't it? So it's a proper break that's allocated.
Okay, so that's good. I don't know that.
Anyways, so you can take a break. You can go to sleep if you want. You can try to sleep. And I think what happened was, so I said as a joke, all rotation I won't. And on my last set of nights, what happened, I was absolutely drained. This is at the end of a SHO rota, which is merciless, right? And I think it was like 6 a.m. I didn't have a break all night. My break was right in the morning, 5:30 anyway. And I went to sleep. I actually dozed off on the couch. And that's it. Yes, I know. I hear tannoys. I hear, can Amz please come to the majors? We need you. So it's my reg.
Yeah.
Like, Amz, we need you, bro. Where are you?
Yeah. Lucky still at the end of your shift and you got a good rapport with them.
And then like someone just comes like, Amz, everyone's looking for you, man. What happened? Like, oh man, yeah, I'm coming. And I literally went down, and that's why I choose not to sleep.
Yeah, you know, your sleep is mad. Because when I call you and you're sleeping, you're finished, you wake up and you're like, where am I? What's happening? What day is it? What night is it? Who are you? Bro, your sleep is mad.
No, this is the thing. You know my sleep, right?
Yeah.
I'm one of those guys. If I hit some people struggle to sleep. You get insomnia.
Yeah, I'm mad at
I will sleep like that.
Is it?
And I will sleep through an earthquake.
Yeah.
I will sleep through fire.
I'm envious of people like that, you know?
And then I will wake up completely refreshed and I don't remember anything.
So you have good quality sleep. That's another thing. Quality sleep is important.
It can be short, but it's good quality.
Can you do
sleep.
power naps?
I can't do power naps because I wake up like this. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, I think power naps is a myth. You know my power naps,
I don't know what's happening.
So let me tell you a funny
Your
story.
power naps are a myth.
Yeah. So you know when you first start working, it happened in Margate, yeah. So,
You said you're power napping.
So you know when you first start working and you've been a medical student for so long, you're not used to like proper real work, working 9 to 5 or 9 to whatever, 9 to 8 or 9 to 9 on calls, yeah. And so you become really tired and fatigued and sleepy. And I remember, them days were like, I'll go for a nap. My power nap, is minimum 12 hours. Because I'd come home, I'll be like, I'm going to have a power nap from 5 to 6. I'll go sleep at 5 p.m. And then I'll wake up at 7:30 a.m. the next day to go into work. Like, these power naps are missed.
F1.
Yeah, in F1.
But you did it in Margate.
No, I'm saying in Margate. No, so that's what I'm saying. Power naps never work for me. I remember once
the first day you did it was, so we came home clinic and the plan was to go gym.
Yeah.
7 p.m. gym session. He goes to me, bro, I'm going to get some sleep between 5 to 7 and wake up and go gym.
Yeah.
This guy slept from 5 p.m. till 9 p.m. the next day and went in late into clinic.
Wow, that was crazy. I remember that time we were in Margate, right? All them and them, Remember that time we all ate together and then we were all conked out on the sofa, on the chair, on the table, on the floor. And the other ones were like, guys, let's all sleep half an hour, we'll be fresh. Fam, we were out. We'll just wake up. And we're like, what happened? So power naps don't work for me. But
it don't work for me
good
either.
quality sleep is important. Being refreshed is important. And naturally, I was speaking to one of the older doctors, one of the King's alumni, and it's like, regardless, after the third and fourth night, it takes a toll on you, man. You start taking a hit. You just slow down. Fine. So now we've kind of talked about our experiences and stories of nights. Let's kind of give like proper, good, genuine advice that people can benefit from, especially the new F1s or F2s or any doctor in that regard. So you sent me a really good article that we had a good read. I can't remember who it was.
So Dr. Farquhar, he's a sleep consultant, and he gave some good evidence-based, I think it's evidence-based anyways, guidance for all junior doctors on how to manage night shifts. And he goes through some good tips and tricks for anyone doing night shifts at all. He first of all talks about the dangers. So anyone who does night shifts and things like that, right? For example, you shouldn't be driving home. And he says it's similar and it's in fact the same offence. If you drive whilst exhausted, right, it's similar to driving at the limit of drink driving.
Wow.
And so it's actually illegal to drive if you're exhausted, and you will get charged and you will get prosecuted. So he says that's the risk of it. And we've heard all the cases where doctors on their way home
every so
have
often,
unfortunately
it's happened to me. I've done crazy stuff where I've done a set of nights and then as soon as I finished, I drove from Coventry to London, and that's like 100 miles, man.
Yeah.
And you feel it. And I remember I already had one car crash, These near misses are scary. Like, I remember slowing down and then lorry beeping, and it woke me up. And my legs were shaking,
Yeah.
Because I'm rushing. So when I first started F1, because I was in Coventry, my friends and family were in London, I used to miss London, and any opportunity to come to London, I used to take it. Regardless if I had to drive, take a train. And obviously after nights, you're like, I want to go to home. I want to go to my bed. And I remember I was driving and you're slowing down and you're a bit thingy, and the lorry was beeping, and I thought, do you know what? This is unsafe. I pulled over, took rest, went to the next Starbucks, got a double, triple, quadruple espresso, whatever. Because you're right, it actually driving, being very tired and exhausting is really bad, and you feel it, and your eyes can barely stay open, and I do not recommend it.
It's not just that, it's the risky behaviours that creep in. So for example, I don't drive a long distance to work. But after a night shift, I know I'm a bit more riskier, and it's dangerous. That's what it is. So you have to make sure that you're not exhausted. And he does say that after a night shift, if you're too exhausted, you're actually entitled to the trust paying for a cab to send you home. So that's an entitlement. That's something that we're all entitled to. So that's important. So anyway, Dr. Farquhar talks about how to prepare for a night shift quite well, and he talks about first getting a good sort of sleep routine in. So what he suggests is that before you actually do the night shift is what we all try to do about fail at, which is try to get that nap in just before. So it's like sleep is like a bank as well, where you can actually sleep store, and then you can actually. So if you, for example, have slept a lot, you can actually reach into it, and it allows you to go a lot longer. That's why you can go that 24 hours. Without sleep, because you've slept well before that. If you haven't slept before that, you won't be able to get through that 24 hours. So he talks about that. And the usuals of eating and drinking well. So those things are very important. Which is, some people say it's common sense. But as doctors, how many of us forget to have lunch, dinner, breakfast,
and everything in between?
Snacks. Some of us don't go to the toilet because we're too busy.
I agree.
It's common sense, but some of us need to be told what's common sense. So yeah, those are the things that he recommended before the night shift.
So kind of getting the rest before the night shift, kind of preparing for it. We can talk about what to do during the night shift itself. So the main thing is, first and foremost, look after yourself. Once you're tired and you're sleep deprived, you become really fatigued, really exhausted, and the ability to make clinical decisions do go down. And you start, like I said, you make riskier decisions, which is neither good for you nor for the patient. So acknowledge that. The main thing with the night shifts is try get a break. So most often you'll be working with another doctor, you might have a senior doctor. Try get yourself at least half an hour in the shift, at least twice or however times you're allowed to do it. We appreciate it's busy, where you just nap. Rest, and I mean not a break where you're on your phone and chilling, like lie down or close your eyes or whatever you need to do, so at least you're at a complete rest, at a complete still moment, because those rests are crucial. So I'd say make sure you get breaks, healthy breaks throughout the night shift. Make sure you hydrate and drink well. Make sure you stay hydrated throughout the night, and avoid having big fatty meals. So you don't want to be having really fatty, high calorie intake meals. And especially after midnight onwards, if you're hungry, or package, have soups, have something that healthy. You can get nuts and all of these little different things. Don't have like a really fat meal, because it will just slow you down and make you feel groggy. One thing I've noticed...
saying that on the quick meals thing, I go against it. Obviously, it's not good. But I'll have a full steak meal in the morning at 6 a.m. or a full...
But do you know what I do?
Rice with chicken breast and everything at 6 a.m. in the morning. Like,
do you treat yourself after your night shift?
Yeah, like...
I have a full English after every night shift.
It's not after every night.
Nah, that's my routine, Like every night shift, whatever hospital I am, from my first night to my last night, after I finish my night shift...
Like a reward.
I go to the canteen, I get 2 eggs, I get toast, I'll get baked beans, mushrooms, whatever, and I'll sit and I'll just eat,
enjoy
my thingy, and I'm looking like death. But that's my little routine, and you feel like, you know what, I deserve it, having worked for the last 12, 13 hours. But the general rule is, as soon as you finish your night shift, obviously, when you're not too tired, try to get home as soon as possible and go straight into bed. Don't start playing on your phone. Avoid your exposure to what you call blue light. Electronic devices, so you get as much adequate rest as you can. And then obviously you're going to be waking up ready for your second night.
Dr. Farquhar actually recommends that, as long as you're not driving, obviously, he says if you're taking, for example, public transport, to actually wear sunglasses on the way home.
Makes sense.
Just because you're reducing the light levels and you're getting your body ready for sleep. So he recommends that as well, which is quite good.
And I think we kind of touched on in the last episode about this dip. So it's around the 4 o'clock in the morning dip. And you need to be conscious of that. And that's when both, not only you, your patients as well will deteriorate. So you have to be mindful around the 4 o'clock. Like, okay, heads up, I'm going to be at my lowest. Have I drunk enough water? Have I had a little snack? Have I had my break? Or am I going to take my break shortly? Because you need to be conscious of that. And also know that, like you, it's your lowest kind of, what they call your physiological ebb. So physiologically, that's when you're at your lowest. Patients have the same. But bear in mind, patients are already ill and unwell. So they're taking an even bigger hit. So you need to be like, okay, do you know what? Around 4 o'clock, I should expect someone to go off. So being conscious of that is, being informed is important. So at least you're prepped mentally, yeah?
Exactly.
And
But with that 4 a.m. dip, right, I think it's important, right, that you need to become aware that now your judgment, now everything is not at its peak. Okay?
Yeah, definitely.
So use those around you to double check, triple check, ask your registrar, and so forth. It helps. Even if no one's available, who's next to you and then just share your plan idea to see whether does it sound sensible? Does it sound like something you would do when you are at your peak? Just because your clinical judgment is not at its peak, and every single patient deserves the best treatment and deserves you at your peak. So important to make sure you double check especially your critical decisions, and decisions that you make that's potentially life-saving or potentially destructive.
I agree.
So, yeah.
And I think just being conscious, there are low moments. It is a night shift and it's a very different ball game to, a normal day on call or a normal working day. Kind of be conscious of it. Fine. So we kind of talked about how to prepare for the night before, what to do and how to get through the night itself. What about finishing your night shift? So obviously people like me will get fat English and slowly get home. What are you supposed to do? What is the advice given by the sleep consultant?
So Dr. Farquhar advises he advised obviously going home. First of all, safety is important, isn't it? So first, take the judgment of, are you too exhausted to drive if you drive? Right? And if you don't drive, then take the public transport home. And he advises wearing sunglasses to reduce the light levels. Straight away, one of the most important advices he gives is stay away from your phones, your tablets, and all of those things that emit blue light. Because what they do is they essentially interact with all the hormonal mechanisms and everything, which then essentially perk you up, ready for your day. You don't want to do that. You want to now go to sleep. And then after that, he just says, so he sort of advises the opposite of what you do, which is not just sit around, chill out, and have a big breakfast. I actually don't do that. I actually have my meal at 6 a.m, so I'm full.
So you have a bit earlier, so you can.
Yeah. And he advises go straight to sleep. Go straight to sleep, knock out, and give your body now the well-deserved rest it deserves.
Fine.
So I think those are the things that he says.
And then, so how do you recover? So what do you do after finished your set of nights? So having done your 3 nights or your weekend set of nights, how do you go back to normal per se?
You know what?
What do you do? What's your routine?
I can't get back to normal for a couple of days, which is annoying. My sleep would break at like 2 a.m, 3 a.m, and I can't physically go back to sleep. So I've had a few sleepless nights. But what I
because they say it takes about 2 nights to go back to a normal sleep routine.
Yeah.
So what they usually say is after you finished your set of nights. So let's say you work Friday night, you work Saturday night, you work Sunday night. So you finish Monday morning. So they say, have your meal or whatever you want to have. Go home, sleep for an hour or 2, and then get back up again. And then go back to your daily routine. But the problem with that is...
try that.
It happened to me this time round. So I came back Monday morning and I slept. And I think I got home from it. But then again, look what I did. So I finished work and then I caught a train from Coventry to Marylebone, from Marylebone to my house. So I've been up for another 3-4 hours, right? So I slept for a few hours. But luckily, something happened and I had to go sort something out. So I was forced to wake up after a 2-3 hour nap. And then I thought, you know what? Let me stick to the advice, see if it works. And then I went back to sleep at my normal time, and that helped a lot. Whereas if that didn't happen, I know I would have slept throughout the day, woke up at 7, 8 o'clock, not being able to sleep, and then adjusting it. So the advice is good and stick to it, and it is sound, but sometimes it is just difficult. And when you're tired, you're tired. Like, we're humans, and when you sleep, you sleep.
I agree with that. So the advice is obviously to flip your body routine back to normal. You do the 1 to 2 hour nap on your last night, wake up, go about your normal day, and hopefully sleep at the normal time. But it's so difficult. I tried that, and I find that my whole day is just spent sort of being very lazy and tired and groggy and slow. So it really annoyed me. because the whole day would go like that.
It's a write-off, isn't it?
Yeah, complete write-off of a day off, essentially. So yeah, I essentially sleep the whole day. I try to shorten it. So I'll try to wake up at around maybe 4 or whatever, at a shorter time, and then try and sleep at a marginally earlier, and slightly earlier the next day, and try to return it. But again, it takes me a couple of days to return it.
You know what made me laugh, yeah? Well, I was an Amz and Dr who had this Reg. He is an awesome Reg. I love you, bro. Yeah. You know what he used to do? He used to have cups of coffee after night shifts, you know?
That's dangerous, man.
Bro, I feel like saying his name and hotting him up, but I can't. He used to do a night shift, yeah? You know what he did before medicine? He did, you know... he used to work in a mortuary with like forensic medicine.
Oh, okay.
So he used to deal with like deaths, murders and stuff like that. Really, really cool stuff. So after night shift, he used to have 2 full cups of coffee. Black caffeine coffee. Do not do that, by the way. If you smoke caffeinated drinks, avoid it. Avoid any caffeinated drink. Avoid smoking. Avoid any sort of stimulants, because it will just delay your ability to fall asleep. Obviously, it's a stimulant. But he used to do it, and he's like, yeah, it puts me to sleep. And I just thought, you're weird. You're actually weird. I love you, but you're just weird. And he's like, try it. I said, do you know what? I'm going to stick to my breakfast and go home. So avoid it. Avoid any caffeinated drinks or any sort of stimulants. Red Bull and stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
I have Red Bull. So my other religious thing is I buy Red Bull before my shift. I don't know if it's good.
I have coffee. I do have coffee, though. So I do have coffee.
But then, yeah, it's funny. So, you know when you start, and this I picked up from F1, I mimicked what other doctors were doing. So, you know, first few night shifts, I see a guy, like my surgical Reg, he used to buy Red Bull. And I'm like, yo, why are you buying Red Bull? And he'd be like, yeah, I got night shift. So that stuck in my head. So, you know, you emulate and copy them.
That's true.
So I didn't do this research, or I didn't go out my way how to do well in the night shift. I was like, yo, you know, my boss is doing it. Let me grab a Red Bull. And since then, I've had that habit. I don't know if it's good, but having Red Bull and having coffee is more or less the same thing, really.
Caffeine, it's caffeine content, isn't it? That's keeping you up.
Yeah. But I think, find what works for you. Like we mentioned, acknowledge what a night shift entails, what it is. Find the moments that you're low. Make sure you get your breaks. We'll leave a link to the article in the description below, which I think will be quite good. We'll put it on our Instagram.
Yeah,
we'll do a slides of all the pre-night, during night, post-nights, and it'll be quite good for you lot to refer to. And I think, unless you want to add anything, we can probably...
I think just to summarize, just to say that there's 2 things that matter, and they're the 2 S's. Safety for yourself and safety for the patient. And as long as you fulfill those 2, you'll have a good night shift.
Yeah.
That's it.
And that's naturally, some shifts will be good, and some shifts you'll be sleeping and be able to get some rest. But hopefully, we hope this video kind of helped you. We look forward to seeing you all again next week. But in the meantime, look after yourselves.
And see you